Hello and welcome to Railroads Online. You join me today in Aurora Falls, the Alaskan map of Railroad Online, and this particular save file is my 80-hour save file. We're just here in my train depot here. Here's Jim Railroadson. Hi Jim, everything okay? He had a hard time up in Dead Man's Pass the other day. He was taking a train down from Dead Man's Pass, and he's not going to be the same after that. Here's Gene Railroadson. Hey Gene. He's just getting ready for a long day. I think today it'd be a great idea to take some logs to the sawmill. So we are going to go and get the train, and we're going to load up the train cars with logs and take them down. It's a pretty easy job because the sawmill and the forestry yard are pretty close together. Here we have my train collection. The Shay, the Climax, and the Heisler. But we're not going to be using those today. We're going to be using the Mastodon. This is the DLC train you get at, I believe it's level 7. Now, because this is my first video in Railroads Online, I should apologize if the volume is not correct. I turned the volume down to about 20%. But it still might be a bit too loud. Railroads Online, what to tell you. I'm a day one player on console, playing on PlayStation 5. If you were interested in Railroad Online, you'd know that there was no pre-order on console, so that was unfortunate. I was hoping for some free goodies, but nope. Had to buy it day one, of course. But, there's slim pickings for us console players, so to get a game like this is really, really great. I think it's the only train sim of its kind on console for Steam engines. Of course, there's Train Life, and you can take control of the Orient Express, but you can't get out of the train in that game, unfortunately. This is a very open world. This is my main yard here, so we have an area for trains, and then we have an area for cars, which we are going to go over to that area. I've got the snowplow in the back, I've got my caboose. That particular caboose is a DLC caboose, but they're all pretty similar. I just thought if I got the DLCs, I may as well get it, right? It's the middle of summer right now in the game, so no need for the snowplow, but I've got it ready for the winter, all cold up. Now, Railroads Online, I'm a pretty casual player. I'm not the kind of guy who does everything in first person. I could, and sometimes I do, but if I were to try and record it for a video, I'd probably screw something up and make myself look kind of foolish. So I'll just be playing, like entering the vehicle. And on console, it's really, it's vibrating a lot, so you might accidentally click things, and it's not exactly the easiest to do first person. And the Mastodon's a real beauty. It was between this and the Lima, I believe it was. I wanted the Lima, but I went with the Mastodon. I'll get the Lima as well in the future. Once you get up to this sort of level of the game, it's pretty quick to earn money to buy whatever you want. Some cars take a lot of money, but once you get all the cars bought, do not delete them. Just store them away somewhere because they will come in useful. Now, this particular train yard, you can imagine, is a bit of a nightmare when it comes to getting all the switches. I have a tendency to overcomplicate things, so you can imagine it's you got to get your spectacles out if you want to see all the switches on the map and really try to figure out what you're doing. This particular yard is a 3-part yard, so I have 3 areas for my cars to go. Because I'm just at 80 hours, I haven't yet filled it up with cars. But there's even a train depot in the back, you can see it. That's for the shunting trains. In the future, I'll probably be using shunting trains a lot more. But for now, because all my train cars are pretty much at the front here, I just back up and get them. Now, I'm mainly concentrating on the gold side of the production chain. I am not concentrating on the animal side, the cows. But you can go down both routes, and eventually you'll reach the end. So there's 2 main production lines here, gold and animal. No passengers yet, unfortunately. And I am hopeful. I know there's a lot of talk online about passengers, and there's been a lot of talk for a long time, but I'm still hopeful. Let's just make sure the brakes are undone. One thing I hate is the adaptive trigger, or whatever it's called, in Railroads Online. It's like hard as a rock. The triggers, anytime you look at anything, the triggers just freeze up and get real hard. I imagine that probably uses a lot of my batteries for the controller, so I wish there was a way to turn off adaptive triggers and what have you, because I don't need it, I don't like it. But that's my one gripe with the game, is that. The game is actually quite stable, which is good. It does not crash for me. Although I must admit I do not push it to the limits, not at all. I usually keep cars at about a 10 car or 12 car maximum for now. So I don't know what it's like if you do more cars, maybe. I've heard of that being an issue for some people. Here's my little town here. It's not big or anything. I wish as well that they would consider adding proper roads. That would be pretty cool for roleplay. And maybe a little more building variety. Here we go. We're just on our way now to the lumber yard. You're going to see the sawmill on our right. They're quite close together. Yeah, when this game was coming out, I was so excited for it. Honestly, I can remember the excitement was palpable. You could just sense it. I was like eating up the content. I was like, when's the new trailer coming out? Because I just wanted to see more of it. I don't play online, by the way. I know it's called Railroads Online. I'm glad there's an offline mode. So if you have issues online, I don't know about it. I play offline only. I love the offline experience. It's really great. It's really easy. Especially now that now you can cycle between train cars. When they first released it, it was pre 1.0. And then they got it up to speed, I believe, in, what was it, February or something? I think the game came out in November. But it was... that was game-changing, because then you can load and unload easy. Yeah, the Mastodon. This is a real beauty. I am hoping that they do release more content for it. I think there's a lot of potential with this game, especially on console. As a console player, I am hopeful, because this is like a real treat to play on console. I'm a big simulator guy, console simulator, and Astragon does have a lot of variety. Here we are coming up to the logs. The Mastodon has a lot of power. So I think it's 18,000 traction units, or what have you, whatever the unit is. Yeah, I mean, there's really nowhere that has an issue for the Mastodon. Now, I do try to keep the grades pretty reasonable. I don't go too high. I think the highest I try to get is about 4%, would be probably the highest regular grade. So it's taken a lot of planning to get some of these lines down. They don't look pretty, that's for sure, but you know, I like to have the options. Here you can see my stop signs. Yeah, my stop signs for pre 1.0. That's where I know where to stop, so that I can get out and load the cars manually. But of course, I'm going to keep them there as a memory of the very short but sweet pre 1.0 days on console. I know there were people on computer who were doing that, like, for months and months, or years even. Yeah, years, right? I've been following the game for a while, but of course when it's only on computer, you don't get your hopes up. But ideally, we'll be getting some things from computer. Here we're coming up to a slope. Not too bad. Yeah, between 100% reverser and 100% acceleration, you can get up most things that I have down, at least. Regulator, not accelerator. One thing I do hope is that they can change the steam effect from the whistle, because I believe the Unita, the level 12 Unita, and I believe the other Unita that they had included in the game, I forget what level it is. I know I can buy it, but they have upgraded steam effects from the whistle, which looks really good. And I was hoping that they might consider doing that for all of the trains, because in my mind, more steam is better. I'd personally like to just have double, triple, quadruple the amount of steam. I'd love to be just pumping out steam like crazy. But the smoke effects are not too bad. They're pretty good. Looks like it's getting to be sunset, so we'll be delivering this haul of logs, and then we'll probably call it a day. But this is just a little taste of Railroad Online content, if you're interested. The game's easy, it's fun, it's very straightforward. You really can't screw it up. Well, you actually can screw it up if you forget to cut down all the trees, because you can get some trees coming through your train tracks and they're only a foot tall, and they will derail your biggest trains. So make sure you go along all your tracks and cut down all the trees. And I know that's difficult because sometimes you could be laying miles and miles of train tracks at a time, so it's kind of difficult to then go over it all and remove the rocks and the trees. Now, you might notice that I really try to keep the train at maximum 20 kilometers, or sorry, not kilometers, miles per hour when I'm going through any sort of corner or bend, mainly because I really don't want to tempt fate. It takes ages to put cars back on the tracks and connect them all up again. It is a nightmare, so I really just try to avoid it. I've learnt my lesson from games like SnowRunner and Farming Simulator that if you try to take shortcuts or try to do something quickly, it's going to cost you 5 times as long, because you're going to get, I don't know, hit by a train in Farming Simulator, or you're going to get stuck on a log or flip over somehow. So I just take it slow and steady. If it's a straight rail, then I'll get up to 40 easy, but I have very few straight rails on this map so far. And you know, I got a lot of bumps because it's tough to get that balance between a good grade and a perfectly straight rail, because there are a lot of lumps and bumps and little hills. Here we're coming up to the Sawmill. Just beautiful. That's one thing I really love about the game, is it is quite nice looking. I believe it's, I forget, Unreal Engine. I forget. I think it is, but I forget if it's 4 or 5. I think it might be 5. Don't quote me on that, but it does look good. There's a nice shot with the sun shining. The detail is incredible. If you like trains, you're going to like this game, I think. Steam trains especially. I mean, don't expect the world in terms of every cog and twisted dial and everything working the way it would on a steam train. It's quite like arcade simulation style, where you know, you've got your regulator, your brake, your reverser, your whistle, your sander, and your bell. And that's all you're going to be able to play with. But just, you know, taking it easy for an hour. You know, this video is 20 minutes with very little editing, so it's pretty chill. Nope, unload this way. Make sure that you're looking in the direction you want to unload when you unload, because if you look in the opposite direction, it's going to push all of your stuff onto the ground and you will get no money for it. And if it's something like gold or rails or metal beams that it's the 4th or the 5th step in the production chain, you're really going to kick yourself right in the bottom, because it took so much effort to get that material to that stage, and then you just drop it on the ground and it's gone forever. That is too bad. So it does happen, but yeah, just make sure that you don't make that mistake. Now, of course, the further up the supply chain you go, the more money you get for selling the items. So these logs are not very valuable. You get money and experience for everything. When you're early game, it's really important that you make money and experience. I wouldn't exactly say I had a lot of fun until I was level 4. because then the train started to get a little bit of meat on their bones. You know, they could haul more than a tiny baby car of logs. Well, here we are, John Railroadson and his Mastodon. Thank you so much for watching, everybody, and I hope you like Railroads Online, because there's going to be more of it. See you next time.